I really got convinced that Conor was mentally that he was in the right space. But when people talk about confidence and mindset, this whole game is mental. That's some loser trying to sell a book on Amazon for $10. Like, that is not real. That's just something we tell kids. This is physical. Here, it's very little mental. It's physical. So I think Conor mentally, for whatever that is, was in the right spot. But the contest is physical.
I don't know if we ever see Conor McGregor again. He broke the left leg last time. This time we don't know the injury, but it looks like he's blown a knee out.
And I wasn't being insulting there when I said that, because this sport is a bitch. This sport is a bitch. I've got one eye. I've got no knees. I've got fake knees. I live in constant neck pain. I have a deformed wrist. You can see that there. And that's just the beginning of my injury. This sport is a tough sport. You know what? I'll say this. Commiserations to Conor McGregor. And also commiserations to Max Holloway. And commiserations also to all of the fans. The fever around this fight was insane.
69 seconds. That's how long it took for the most anticipated comeback in years to end. Again, on an injury. Again, in the opening moments. Conor McGregor threw a jumping kick to open the fight. His knee gave out on the landing. He tried to fight through it. Max Holloway didn't chase the finish. He asked the referee to step in. That's not the ending anyone paid for. It's also not nothing. An opponent recognizing something was badly wrong and choosing not to pile on says something about the moment. Whatever you think about how the fight itself played out.
He tried to do this hop step where he hopped forward, hopped back, and then he did it again. And then when he went back, he just kind of grabbed his leg, you know, and he screamed. He said, ah, and I was telling the ref, come on, bro. Like, what you want me to do? Keep it like this guy he brought his kids to the fight. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't trying to beat up a wounded dog.
Here's the detail that made this feel less like bad luck and more like a pattern. 13 years ago, in their first fight, McGregor tore his ACL in the very same bout against Holloway and still gutted out the rest of it to win by decision. Same two men, same category of injury on opposite ends of the outcome. Online, the joke started almost instantly that Holloway is somehow cursed for McGregor's knees.
Off of that, I don't know how to phrase this, but you fought Conor twice. He's blown his knee out both times. Do you think this fight between you is cursed? Because it seems like every time we
I don't know. And I bounced his head on the mat, so you know that's one up for me. But you know, all jokes aside, you guys making me a terrible person. What the hell? But you know, all jokes aside, I hope he come back good. But that's crazy. Yeah, that's actually crazy that he did the thing. I just have that aura, I guess. I don't know.
It's not literal, and nobody's claiming Holloway caused either injury directly. But it's a real coincidence sitting on top of a real history, and it's a big part of why this result feels stranger than a normal fight-ending injury. Almost immediately, a second story started competing with the first one. Online, clips started circulating of McGregor stepping out of his shoes before the walkout, moving gingerly. And the theory spread fast. Maybe this wasn't a fresh injury at all. Worth being clear, that's speculation, not a confirmed report. Nobody with direct knowledge of his medical status has said that publicly. Dana White pushed back on it directly, pointing to something hard to argue with. The face-off 2 days earlier had been viewed 80 million times on his own accounts alone. Doctors cleared McGregor beforehand, and out of that many eyes on the footage, nobody flagged a limp before fight night.
Flying high kick, not to say the least. Yesterday we saw Conor putting sneakers on. He looked like he had a hard time putting out his sneakers. Could he have been injured before the fight?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, that I don't know. I mean, the day of the press conference, he came running out of the back and ran right up to him and stopped abruptly and, you know, squared off with him. They were pushing foreheads and...
McGregor addressed it himself, twice. First, raw. No prior injury. The same kick thrown all through camp and backstage minutes before walking out. This came out of nowhere. And his words. He was beyond dark, describing it as hell. Then, hours later, a different tone. He said he was sharp and ready walking in, called the pre-fight speculation nonsense, said he'd be at church the next day, and closed, within his words, "I will overcome this. I will not be deterred. I will return." Whatever actually happened in that knee, McGregor's record now sits at 22-7, his third straight loss, and the second in a row that ended on injury instead of a finish. McGregor now has one fight left on his UFC deal and a lot less leverage walking into whatever comes next. So where does that leave the story we were telling 2 days ago? The redemption arc, the warrior mentality, the man who didn't need to come back but did anyway. None of that gets erased by one bad step. The character test everyone was talking about didn't get answered inside the octagon this time. It just got postponed. Bisping's right. This sport doesn't wait for a good story to finish before it takes something back. What's your opinion? Does this change how you see the comeback narrative, or does it prove the point either way?